Alright, what is up YouTube? HPG here, and I am coming at you guys with Duelist number 7 from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels Battle City finalist box that is set to release December 13th of 2023. No, 2024. Why did I say 2023? Anyway, we're going to be taking a look at the 7th duelist from this box, and that is Odion, the foster brother of Merrick and Ishiza Ishtar. And he has a lot that contributes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Odion is known for his deck being a composite of trap monsters, as well as a very well-known banned card at that time, known as Temple of the Kings. Now, while Temple of the Kings does not appear in this deck, it is actually part of his skill card. And I have to honestly say, they put a good deck together for Odion, and I can't wait to go through the pieces, as well as the skills that are followed to it. So, starting off are the monsters in his deck, in which we have the copies of Mystical Beast Circuit, Guardian Sphinx, The End of Anubis, Gravekeeper's Guard, Swarm of Centipede, Swarm of Scarab, Swarm of Locust, Death's Lakuta, Mirage of Nightmare for the spells, Double Snare, Source of Ruling Light, MST, and Book of Moon. For the trap cards, as you'll see right here, we have Embodiment of Apopus, Tiki's Curse, Tiki's Soul, Ordeal of the Traveler, Wabaku, Judgment of Anubis, and Curse of Anubis. So those are all the cards that are going to be in the deck, in the box for the deck for Odion. And then going into his skill card, we have Royal Temple of the Kings. It is a field spell and skill for Odion, and it states that Royal Temple of the Kings is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Mystical Beast Circuit cannot be destroyed by its own effect. Once per turn, you can pay 500 of your life points this turn, and then activate a continuous trap card with the effect that it special summons itself as a monster the turn it was set. The second card is Desert Peril, and it is a skill that can be used twice per duel, and you can apply the following effects. Split all monsters you control face down, and then shuffle them in your main monster zone. Then, you can change the battle position of one monster you control. This skill can only be used once per turn. So, sorry about that if, like, everything is starting to shake, because I was just scratching my leg. But, yeah, this is, these are the cards that are going to be coming with the lineup of things in the Battle City box. So, let's talk about Temple of the Kings, because many of you probably don't even know what that card is and what Mystical Beast Circuit is. So Mystical Beast Circuit says that you need to have the Temple of the Kings on the field. It is a level 7 monster. It can such a summon itself while the card is on the board. Then, Temple of the Kings itself has multiple abilities. And the reason why this card doesn't see a lot of play in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is because, at the current time, is because the card had to be errata over a decade ago upon its TCG release. Now, for those who don't know what Temple of the Kings is, it's a continuous spell card. And it says that while this card is placed up on the field, you can play trap cards from your hand. That's right, you play trap cards from your hand, just like they were spells. And the other addition to that was that if Mystical Beast Circuit is on the field, you can send it in Mystical Beast Circuit to the graveyard to then such summon one monster from your hand, deck, graveyard, or extra deck. That's right, there was no penalties as long as you had the Mystical Beast on the field, as well as Temple of the Kings, and you sent them to the graveyard. Now, modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Had to do a major errata on the card, because the card was completely broken, and unfortunately Mystical Beast Circuit cannot be used because it needed its temple in order for it to be played. So, how did they errata the card, and how did they make it at least somewhat playable without being extremely broken? They put a hard once per turn on the trap card, so you can play one trap card per turn. Then, I believe you had the sending of the monster, Mystical Beast Circuit, and the spell was still playable, but there was a catch to it, and I think it was a once per duel. effect that they put on that as well. Yeah. So they literally watered down the card because of how broken it was getting. And understandable. Literally understandable of why they had to do it. Then we go through, how they're setting up here where they're making it able to, such as to be able to summon the Mystical Beast Circuit. And then Circuit can't be destroyed because if Circuit's on the field without the temple, it's destroyed. It literally says it on that card's effect that it's destroyed. And then I believe Circuit also says that when it destroys an opponent sponsored by battle, it gains half of the attack of the monster it destroyed, which is resemblance to what happened in the trading card game because they actually did that in the show, where every time it destroyed one of Joey's monsters, it started to form pieces of itself, and those pieces of itself were formed off of the monsters Joey had on the field. Jinzo, Legendary Fisherman, and even Insect Queen. And it took a lot for Joey to pull off summoning those monsters too, by the way. Other than that, I mean, looking at the lineup of cards that you can easily use because of Temple of the Kings, it does fit the aesthetics that fall behind Odion very well. Because Odion's decks are 999% trap cards. Even throughout the video games as well. It's all alignment of trap cards. So it is a nice, apparel of things to see in order and how they wanted to really pay off to it. Because none of the games with Temple of the Kings actually used Temple of the Kings, or when they had Odion. I don't know if Odion actually used. No, there is one game, Nightmare Troubadour, had Odion's deck using Temple of the Kings because it was technically considered a banned card. It is a banned card at that period of time. So they made sure to at least give him the option to use it when he was in that game. So, in addition to that being in the game and then being able to set up things, yeah, they gave him that. Otherwise, his deck was just heavy trap, and then the only ways to really deal with it were to play play Jinzo, who was at 1, or play Royal Decree, which I believe was at 2. So, had to pick your poisons. But most decks at that time, especially GOAT, were playing in. And if you build GOAT in Nightmare Troubadour, by the time you got to endgame, you were still able to deal with Odion as well. Then you have Desert's Peril. And this applies to most of the monsters in Odion's deck as well, that have the ability to flip themselves face down and then be able to flip themselves face up and then manually activate their effect. They are called the flip-flop monsters. They are not flip effect monsters in any terms, but they were the precursor to what we have now between the Gimme Ghoul and, especially noted, the Ghost Trick. Because these monsters have the ability to flip themselves face up and face down once a turn, just like the Ghost Trick. Now, the only difference is that the Ghost Trick have abilities that can trigger once they're flipped face up, even if the opponent flips them face up. The crazy thing is these flip-flop monsters don't. They have to manually flip by your opponent. So it is definitely 100% a large array of things that has to be done in order for them to set up. So, yeah, there's a lineup of things. There's a lineup of things. And it's definitely some good representation here. Now, do I think there'll be more to it? But, yeah, like I said, it's just an array of things that just focuses on the two aspects they wanted to give, because they're doing this with everybody in this set as well. So it's nice to see them pay homage to a lot of this and keep a lot of that together. Now, let's talk about Odion's deck overall. Now, it has the flip-flop monsters. It's got Guardian Sphinx, Swarm of Centipedes, Scarabs, Locusts, and even Deslakuta. Deslakuta is draw power. It's win flip, draw one card from your deck type of situation. Swarm of Locusts destroys spells. Swarm of Scarabs destroys traps. I believe Centipedes mills from the deck, your opponent's deck. Gravekeeper's Guard. This is paying its reference of it being Odion. There are several Gravekeepers in the Gravekeeper archetype that are resemblance to all the Ishtars, Yami Bakura, and the parents of the Ishtars. And mind you, because Gravekeepers did appear in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX as well, and they were going full force against Jade Yuki as well. But yeah, those are the line of things in terms of those monsters being there. End of Anubis being the Lord of the Dead in Egyptian lore, was probably one of the reasons why they focused on this, just to get a lot of things together. And then on top of that, with the array of, the Egyptian lore that they give between Odion and Shizu, because they don't do much of it with Merrick. They do it more so with Shizu. Well, I guess they do it with Merrick, because Merrick has Temple of the Kings. So, yeah. It's a lot. It is very much a lot between the lineup of things that they have set up for them. But it's a lot that it gets set up to just teach that bit of history with them as well. We got some good common staples as well. Double Snare to deal with those cards that stop your trap cards. Oops, sorry, Genzo and Royal Decree. Mirage of Nightmare is the parallel rare in this lineup of cards for Odion, which I am begging the question to ask, why the fuck was Mirage of Nightmare put in here? I don't know. I guess because they want to reprint Mirage of Nightmare, because that card is extremely old as well. It's another banned card that had to be reworked. Well, it isn't reworked because it's still banned, but for those who don't know, Mirage of Nightmare, continuous spell card. During your opponent's turn, you would draw until you have 4 cards. Then during your standby phase, you randomly discard cards from your hand up to the number of cards that you drew through its effect. So, one thing that everyone did with Mirage of Nightmare, and of course you've seen it in the anime, where they would, Jaden and Yuki's grandfather, who played the card, used, what was that card? Oh, Emergency Provision. And you would send cards from your field to the graveyard to then gain 1,000 spells and traps that you control to the graveyard to gain 1,000 life points. And you combine that with Mirage of Nightmare, so that Mirage of Nightmare would be able to not trigger during your standby phase. Now, for most decks, they probably will love that, because discarding cards to the graveyard triggers off abilities. Looking at you, Dark World. And I'm kind of glad that this card is banned, but also at the fact that this card will be broken from any other decks that would get the chance to use it. And then we have a lot of other reprints as well, just to keep things going. And then we have, a lot of the continuous traps. Primarily Tiki Soul, Tiki's Curse, and Embodiment of Popus, which focuses on Odion's trap lineup in the cards that he uses as well for trap cards. So, yeah, not too bad there. And even got Judgment Anubis and Curse of Anubis, just to reflect off of Anubis, the Lord of the Dead. So, not really too much more to talk about. Like I said, this is a standard lineup of cards and deck for Odion, and I'm sure many of you are going to be happy to play this and get the cards from Speed Tools as well, especially that Mirage of Nightmare. And some of you are probably hoping to get the parallel rare from it as well, because it's been a while since Mirage of Nightmare has ever been printed. Well, reprint. So with that in terms, thanks everyone for watching. If you have any questions and concerns, you can leave those in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out tremendously. You can hit the notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content to my channel. Socials are in the description box below. You can check out content through the previous video and the playlist. Thanks everyone for watching, and your boy HBJ signing out. Take care.